Hagar's story begins in the tents of Abram and Sarai. She was an Egyptian woman, a servant in their household. Life was hard for Hagar. She had no power, no voice. Sarai, Abram's wife, was barren. She couldn't have children. In a desperate attempt to have an heir, Sarai offered Hagar to Abram. Hagar was to bear a child for her mistress. Hagar found herself caught in a web of societal expectations and personal desires. She became pregnant with Abram's child. This should have been a joyous occasion. However, it led to tension and mistreatment. Sarai, filled with jealousy and resentment, began to mistreat Hagar. Hagar felt the sting of injustice. The weight of her situation became unbearable. Hagar fled into the wilderness. Alone and afraid, she sought refuge in the vast emptiness. She was a woman with nowhere to turn, a forgotten soul. The wilderness, a symbol of desolation, became Hagar's sanctuary. It was a place of fear and uncertainty, yet it was here, in her darkest hour, that God saw her. He heard her cries, he knew her pain. In the solitude of the desert, God found Hagar. He appeared to her by a spring of water. He saw her despair. He heard her silent cries. He spoke to her. Can you imagine the fear, the disbelief, the hope that surged through Hagar? God's messenger, an angel, addressed her with compassion. Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? This simple question acknowledged her pain. It recognized her humanity. Hagar, for the first time, felt seen, not as a servant but as a person. The angel delivered a message of hope. He promised Hagar that her descendants would be too numerous to count. He instructed her to return to Sarai. He assured her of his protection. Hagar, overwhelmed by this encounter, gave God a name that echoed her experience, El Roi, meaning the God who sees me. Hagar returned to Abram and Sarai. She gave birth to a son, Ishmael. For a time there was a semblance of peace, but the shadow of the promise loomed large. Years passed. God fulfilled his covenant with Abram and Sarai. They were blessed with a son, Isaac. With Isaac's arrival, the tension resurfaced. Sarai, unable to bear the sight of Ishmael, demanded their expulsion. Abram, torn between his wife and his son, reluctantly agreed. Once again, Hagar found herself cast out, sent into the wilderness, this time with her son. The fear that had gripped her before returned. She was alone, a mother with a child to protect, facing an uncertain future. In the face of despair, God's faithfulness remained. He heard Ishmael's cries. He provided a well of water, sustaining them in the wilderness. He promised to make Ishmael a great nation. Hagar's story, though marked by hardship and rejection, is ultimately a testament to God's unwavering love and faithfulness. Hagar, a marginalized woman and outcast, was chosen by God. He saw her, heard her, and blessed her. Her story reminds us that God sees the overlooked and hears the silenced. He is a God of compassion, extending his grace and mercy to all who call upon him. Hagar's story is a beacon of hope, a timeless reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, God's love prevails. He sees us, he knows us, and he will never forsake us. He is the God who sees, and in his sight we find redemption and hope.